Hey, Dr. Borup, it's Cami, and I am giving you my video reflection for, I guess it's week 8, right? Um, so, my experience with communicating online, I do it a lot because I've been teaching online a lot. So, this actual transition was semi easy for me to this teaching online for COVID. But I've found that I'm using some of the tools that I was reluctant to use teaching virtually for the virtual high school. I'm using them more now with this COVID learning, and actually since taking this test. I am putting videos in each week. Kids are getting a video of what they have to do for the week. I do put my face in the corner just so they know it's me, if they don't know my voice by now, but I would think they do. So it just tells them what's going on for the week, where to find their lessons, even though they should know by now. We know that they're middle schoolers and they don't. So I've found that to be effective. And when parents come and say, my kid doesn't know what's due, I'm able to point right to that video in the announcements and say, well, here you go. Here it is. And it's just one of many places that my students can find what's due and what's expected of them. I've also used it a few times to meet with students one-on-one to give them feedback. For example, they had their first summative assessment last week, and kids were sending me, I don't know, why did I get this wrong? Why did I get this wrong? And they wanted it immediately. So I was able to make a couple of video clips of the problems and show them, hey, this is how you do it. A couple kids wanted to meet in my Zoom meetings and actually go over this in my office hours. So I had a handful of kids that I met in office hours, and they went over the tests with them and the questions that they mixed. Now I'm going to also do it live on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when they have class. So I will go over some of those key questions that students missed. And of course, I record those Zoom meetings so that if a student is absent, they're able to see that. As for communicating with parents, I've actually had a couple of parent conferences in the last couple of weeks, and I loved doing it virtually through Zoom with the video conferencing tool. Big advantage was I was able to share my screen and say, hey, no, your child didn't do this, or look, here's the different places where he can find what's due. And here is where he sees the due dates. Here's the calendar. I was absolutely able to give parents a tour of Canvas and the course and where things were done. But the biggest advantage for me was time. Because in our middle school, we tend to meet as a whole team. Well, 8th grade isn't teamed, but as all the content teachers, we tend to meet with the parent conference. So I've got to sit through every teacher's saying something about the kid, every teacher providing feedback, every teacher putting their 2 cents in. And with this, I was able to meet one-on-one with parents, clear up things really quickly, get it done and over with, and go about my day instead of sitting in a meeting for an hour. The other thing I liked was the flexibility of that. I was able to schedule my own conference with the parents within my planning time, within my office hours, rather than depend on someone else. I invited the guidance counselors. They could come or they could not come. Because the nice thing is it's recorded. So there is no need for me to worry about what was said. And I have a recording of what was said and what was the outcomes. For students communicating online, they do chats. I have had to shut them off a few times. But one of the advantages I found was a kid might have a tech issue and I'm in the middle of teaching. Drives me a little crazy still, but it's like talking in the classroom. And another kid will answer it real quick before I even have time to do something. They're like, I can't hear, and a kid will send them the solution right through the chat, which I think is pretty cool. They're helping each other. I did try to do breakout rooms, But I need more interesting, more in-depth problems because when I popped in there, they were all working on the review separately and not communicating. But that's something that will come and something I will use with time. The one thing I have found, and it was stated again and again, is you have one or two kids who want to, answer every question just like you did in the classroom. So these just arrived from Amazon, and they have names on them now. Not all of them. They will get names on them. And I will be using the good old popsicle stick method just so I can get more kids involved in the classroom and in the discussions. The biggest takeaway for me, though, was on what makes a good video, because I've been flipping the classroom for a long time. I have videos on YouTube for my geometry and my algebra classes where the kids would go and watch and take notes and then would go over them the next day. So, front loading the class. And the biggest takeaway for me is I don't have to be perfect in the videos. I can make little mistakes if I correct them right away. And as soon as I made one, I would be like, ugh, and I would stop the video and I would start over. But I think this reinforces that I don't have to be perfect. I can say, oh, look, I made this mistake. Here's a common mistake, and I can make it a really great learning tool. I do want to use discussions more, but they're so hard in math, and I need to find some good ones. But one of the things I have learned with Canvas is that I can make group discussions, and I actually did one with my geometry class where, I don't know, I guess you taught history, so I don't know if you know, but logic statements, conditionals, if it is raining, then I will stay inside, and they have related statements, and the kids all had to create their own conditional and then respond to 3 or 4 classmates within their group. They had to respond with the related statements. So I think I've gone over my 7 minutes, but thanks for listening and have a great day.